My name is Jonathan Brown II, and I'm the sole creator of this project you're about to listen to. I had an idea of having uncomfortable conversations in safe locations. I often found it was very difficult for us as a society to have conversations regarding sensitive topics, whether that's in the classroom, a formal setting, or even at work. There's certain things that we just can't talk about. Racism, sexuality, religion, politics, you name it. The list can go on and on. We often focus on our differences in life. What I have on, shoes I'm wearing, my hairstyle, and come to find out, we're more alike than we know. We often focus on the differences that bridge us apart than using that bridge to bring each other closer together. And the reason that I'm going to transition here to strictly audio is because I want you to focus and truly listen to what individuals have to say. There's a reason we got 2 ears and 1 mouth, more listening and less talking. So I thank you for taking the time to listen to this story, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Here, make knock it off at your
I don't know, I feel like my COVID story is just so it's so casual, but it's so insane to me.
I distinctly remember sitting in a meeting with my mentor and having the provost come in and say, COVID-19 has reached the United States and we're going to be shutting down the school.
I mean, I was like kindergarten, so I didn't really have a thought or reaction. Really, I was just happy, I can be home.
I think firstly, we were really excited. Everyone kind of had that buzz going on, we get 2 days off of school.
But when it actually started happening, I started getting bored and bored of it. And we were supposed to spend 3 weeks off, but we ended up spending the rest of the school year off.
After everything really kind of hit the fan late March, we were like, wait a second, life is about to be a lot different than what we knew before. It was just the biggest turn of events. I came into college knowing I'm going to take my 4 years, I'm going to be done, take my degree, I'm going to use it. COVID came out of quite literally nowhere, and that changed the entire trajectory of my life.
I feel like I don't want to go back outside every day. It's it was so boring because you couldn't talk to anybody.
I mean, the parks were closed. The movie theaters were closed in America. There was a lot of shops that were closed or were shut down because of it.
Shoot, I tried to disconnect from everybody because I wasn't trying to get sick. I wasn't trying to get nobody else sick. I didn't know how it was spreading or what it could do. My parents is older.
It was hard. It was hard to learn to balance your time because now you have all this free time and you don't really care to do your schoolwork because you don't see the end in mind that you're gonna get to go back to school and get to be back with your friends and get back to doing what you like. So you're just kind of really hard mental mindset at that point to want to go to school and want to still do things when it was just difficult.
I think it made me lose a lot of hope. I was kind of just whatever job would have taken me, I would have taken. And that's kind of what happened. I mean, I think right after COVID, I only had a couple of other job offers besides the one that I took, but it was just I'm just trying to make money and I'm just trying to get through this. Whatever would take me rather than really seeing a future and seeing what experience I could have had or thinking about what I really wanted to do, because it didn't seem like I even had a chance to think about what I wanted because this was telling me what I wanted. It was very limited.
Well, I can say now, looking into jobs, it's now we have our degree now, but it's almost now you need more. Now you need more than just a degree. You need a master's. You need this amount of years in this. You need this certification. And I don't know if people have the motivation to do that anymore. I think it's kind of like it's all this constant stress going on. It's like, is it worth it?
I think everyone talks about doing school online and how difficult that was. I don't think that was the hard part. I think Capital made really great adjustments for the online learning experience.
It was challenging because I had to do Zoom classes through it. There was a lot of times where we had hard times, but it was usually all right. We could probably get off early. I got to not have to get ready. I know it sounds bad, but it was just so good. You got to wake up and you got to just get on there. Then you had to brush your teeth.
Dirty breakfast, the stinky good. Yo,
Nobody would know. Nobody would know. It was just too much for me being in the house all the time. Like, I really couldn't go anywhere. The only time I went outside during the pandemic is if I was going to the grocery store with my mom.
But the thing that was hard was the masks, which were very tight on our faces. I kept on taking it off.
When I took it off, my ears started hurting.
Cutting out all the distractions and actually trying to learn from sitting in front of a computer. That was really just the biggest challenge because, I mean, the world is made of distractions. So it's like, how am I not going to get distracted? I got a computer right here. I got a phone right here. I got a game right here. I got TV right here. So trying to stay on task during class because, man.
That was the hardest part for me, is that there was no person behind me really checking what I was doing. If I wanted to turn my camera off and my mic off and sleep the entire class, then I would. I faced no punishments for it or consequences.
And I just couldn't stay on task. I just couldn't stay focused with it. And then it was just too easy to not be in class. Like, I could just roll over, open my laptop, and be in my class, and roll back over, sleep, put my camera off, and put my laptop on mute. And they'll still think I'm here. Hopefully they don't call on me or nothing like that. But if they do, they just don't think I'm gone or something. But at least I'm technically still in the class. So, yeah, it was just too easy to get around school. You didn't actually have to physically go.
For those nearly 2 years that at least I found myself online, I really wasn't able to pick up and really apply myself in the way that I probably would have if I was in person. And so being able to come back then and be in that environment again, I feel like I had so much more appreciation and could really pick up on it. But that was probably the most challenging thing for me.
My mom actually asked me, Kaden, do you want to go back into the building, or do you just want to stay on Zoom? I told her to go back into the building because it was becoming to the problem where, like, if I was staring at the screen too much, it will start moving.
No, after a few while, I didn't feel safe because because some of my friends were at the school, so I got scared. But after I found out that my best friend Jack, who I'd grown up with at that school, was there, I felt safe.
I didn't know if it was the right decision to go back. I just knew that everybody was in it with me. I can't be scared if everybody else not scared.
I don't think I felt safe at all. I think we were trying to rush a pandemic, which we have no control of.
It was probably stupid the first time. We should have probably waited a little bit and then went back. But, they don't care. They just want to make their money.
I think in our economy and how America is everything inherently systemic in everything that we do, I think we wanted to get back to some sense of normalcy, but I don't think we realized that our normal before COVID will never be the normal we experience again after. So I think people were just trying to find some sort of peace in that, and it wasn't there.
I mean, we here today, so I guess it kind of worked out.
I don't know if the value of education has diminished. I think how we value education has been degraded since the pandemic.
For me, I don't think it has, and I think I've only appreciated it more. Being able to go back in person to learn, because I really benefit from being in a classroom versus being online. So I think for me, it's been better.
Just this rise of technology. I think we have so much information at our fingertips at all time that we don't know what to do with it. We don't know how to process it. And so in the realm of education, it's kind of like, well, what's the point of me being here?
But I also think too, this whole, well, you need to go to college to get ahead. I don't think that's as big of a thing now. I mean, there's multiple trade jobs. I mean, there's people are making content. There's so much more now than, especially going into college, is how much money you're truly about to spend on your education. And if you're not going to take it seriously, or if you're not going to finish in the time that you need to finish in, I wouldn't go. I mean, it's all about your own individual journey, not worry about what other people do. And I feel like that now with social media and all that stuff, we all want to do what other people are doing. Like, you just got to do what works for you. And to go back to your question, we need education, but I also think it's not something that you want to do. You should not do it.
Before the pandemic, I had a great outline for the rest of my life. I knew what I wanted to do, what I had to do to go and get it. And I was doing all of those things. And then the pandemic hit and everything turned upside down, and it showed you're not promised every day. You're not promised every minute. I think one of the best things to come out of the pandemic was the personal realization of how important people in your life really are and the time you are able to spend with them.
Definitely a lot of, I'd say, relationships I got to build that I don't think I would have necessarily ever seen. I met my current boyfriend whenever I came back through my 5th year. I got to meet some of the new players, some new people just around Capitol. I wouldn't have met you if I wouldn't have came back for a 5th year, and I only got to take that 5th year because of COVID. So, I mean, obviously my championship that I got to have my 5th year was one of the biggest wins from that. So, well, it's hard.
I mean, shit, today's society too, like, I mean, you definitely understand. I'm white. Like, you got more scares out there in the world than I do, which I'll never understand. So that's a privilege right there. And then if we get into that, we're males too. That's a privilege I got. Yeah, I'm privileged. But it's also one of those things where it's like, feel like you're an asshole for not like accepting it. Like, yes, I'm saying it, but like, it's not like I'm going out everywhere, like showboating it, acting like it, because it's like, that's not how you're raised.
I believe I do have privilege. I mean, anybody that can talk openly and freely about anything has a privilege. I don't believe privilege stops at just race or, ethnicity. I think privilege is where you're born. A lot of people can't do a lot of things in certain countries that they're born in. If you're born in America, like, you already have a privilege. I think people overlook that.
Yeah, you have that until it happens to you. And people tend to forget. I mean, you're one job loss away. You're one ambulance ride. You're one mistake away from being a completely different. I mean, most Americans are one paycheck away from a different attitude than what they have towards other people. And I think that's one thing that we have not, we strayed away from over the generations. It's just, people have no empathy anymore. And it's kind of scary.
I think ignorance is a privilege in of itself. I don't think ignorant or ignorance, the way we use it today, means what it truly means. I think we're quick to call people ignorant. Really, it might be a lack of education, or we're quick to call someone ignorant when really they just made a comment that we did not want to hear. I think ignorance is being so comfortable in your own life that you don't have to pay attention to the issues and problems of people around you.
You never do any good things that people are doing. And if you do, that's glazed over, because it's not what makes news anymore. And it's always something awful going on. And, when are we going to start going back to when, you hear good things about things? People should be glad for other people. I think jealousy is such a, and that goes into the empathy. You can't just be happy for somebody anymore. There's always got to be some backhanded comment to it. There's always going to be just, we just got to learn to be like happier as a whole. And I think that's another thing that goes along with that. Like, people are just not happy. And it's kind of scary.
Be chill and like let something go. If someone said something, it doesn't matter which side said it first. Like, why couldn't you just like take those words and walk away?
It's just what you do with that privilege. Like, do you stay silent and, appreciate it, build on that? Or do you just use it and just have fun and not care about, what you're doing or what the future holds for you? So I believe that I have a privilege. I believe that everybody has a different level of privilege. Not every privilege is the same, but I do believe I have privilege.
I always thought of myself as this ally. I thought I was a great supporter and did things for other people that a lot of people in my life don't. So, I kind of had my own self-reflection on a pedestal for a while. I just feel like as a whole, like as a girl and like as a white woman, like you should just know where your boundaries are. You should know what you are and are not allowed to say. And like, why is it like you need to go up to someone and degrade them? And then once COVID hit, I realized that I can talk this big game and do very minuscule things and feel that way when really I wasn't doing anything near enough to what I should have been, especially in my privilege. COVID kind of opened those doors for me because I was able to slow down and reflect on my life. And I saw how little I was doing in certain situations where I should have been doing.
At this point, men's mental health, men's mental health isn't taboo anymore. Because I was talking to my dad and his friends, and they're like, yo, back in the day, you just drank that shit off, you didn't talk about it. Now, it's more open for guys to talk about it, but I don't feel like dudes talk about it at all. I mean, I'm one of those people where it's I don't think anyone wants to hear any of my problems. People just want to hear the good stuff.
I think over the last, obviously, few years and a couple elections, I think people just become insanely selfish. And I think people do it without realizing it. It's become me, me, me. This is it's across the board with everybody. I mean, I think it's just become, we're just so enamored with ourselves, so you don't realize, people have lost the ability for empathy. And I think we do it under the guise of politics. And I think we do it because this is how it should be. And we forget that we're just all people.
The people around me are very confident and positive in who they are as a person, and they motivate me to be myself and do the right for the situation and to always have the people's back that deserve them, regardless if you know them or not.
Probably my grandma. We have a lot of differences in our beliefs, but at the same time, she's always told me to be my true self. If I feel a certain way about a topic, she said, vocalize it. Speak why you think it's right and why you think you are in the right stance. But then at the same time, if you know you're wrong, you have to admit that as well.
My parents did. My mom fought for me in my education and everything, and my dad as well. So they both have been a huge example to me in life on always fight for what's right, fight for what you believe in, to just always be the best person you can be. That's my inspiration. That's what I'll teach my students, my kids, whoever, always fight for what you believe in and be true to yourself.
So I feel that is a big thing that people need to be more aware of, and it's okay to talk about it.
I feel like my room has always been a very safe space for me. If you look around, there's 200 different things on my wall that all represent some part of myself, whether it's big or very small. So I think my room has always been a safe place for me to express myself fully, whereas I'm sometimes scared to go and do that on an everyday basis. Sometimes it's easier to be the person everyone wants you to be rather than be the truest version of yourself. That's something very hard that I've had to learn throughout the years, because life is so much prettier when you live it the way you want to live it. So I'm gating. And I think my room is a very safe space for me to go out and then come back to regain who I am, my sense of identity.
Naturally, I'm an overthinker, so I'm create stress one way or another for myself.
I talk to God too, honestly. That's really how you cope with stress.
Yeah, I do not cope at all. I bury it off. That's one of my biggest, I'd say, red flags.
Sometimes, man, stressful situations, at the end of the night, man, after a stressful day or something, sometimes to get to that point, you gotta hit up a little pinch of it, where you might have to hit up, Mary J. I'll stretch her, listen to music. I got a girlfriend now, so chilling with her takes a lot of stress off my mind.
I wouldn't even say stress. It's just stuff that you know you can't handle. I just give it to God, honestly. That's all you can do.
But at the end of the day, it's gonna be okay. Shit like that.
They may see me because the color of my skin is I'm a little light skinned like you, but I'm brown. They may see me in a different light. They may think I'm not smart or capable of conducting business in a certain way. I really don't care what other people think. I did used to be like that, but it's just kind of how I became. But honestly, it's a good thing now I don't care. Because if you worried about what other people are thinking about you, you're never going to reach your maximum potential of being yourself.
I would much rather like be hated by someone for being who I am than liked by someone for being someone I'm not.
Like for me, if I'm fake or if I'm lying about something, my guilty conscience will like eat me alive. So I feel like it's harder for me to be fake than be real.
It is what it is. And plus, they always gonna have something to say about you anyway. So what's the point of trying to please people?
It's not like I'm being fake. It's like, code switching. I don't know. I think it's just me being a little bit more surface level. I don't see it as fake. It's just more surface level. It's not as like deep as I actually can be. And in certain situations, it's just easier to just be as like, okay, as easygoing as possible, just because it'll save a headache later.
Like everybody has their own personalities, their own opinions, their own differences, their own beliefs. And I don't understand why people don't realize they're special in a way.
Say yes until you know the answer is no. So say yes to every opportunity. Put yourself out there. Have the courage to say yes. Put yourself wholly into it. And if you figure out that that's not you, or that's not true to you, or that's not what you want to do, it's not where you find your purpose or your joy, it's okay to step away. But you also will never fully get to appreciate the world around you and all its greatness if you don't explore.
And perhaps it's just the nature of reflection too, that you notice that you passed so many beautiful moments without a second glance. But to be able to live in those moments back when you were young and you had that clear of mind and the beautiful innocence of youth, I think that would be something I would have liked to be mindful of.
I mean, and on the top of that, I would also say patience. Somebody said to me once, it's about the direction, not the speed. Things take time, and you can't, the more you try to force something, the more it's not going to happen.
It's absolutely pathetic that it is 2023 and we're still having this conversation, because some people were raised with some fucked up thoughts that just because of their skin color, that just because of their religion, just because of anything, that they are better than another individual. It's sad that people aren't raised to treat others with the utmost respect until somebody shows that they don't deserve that respect.
It's a lot easier to point out the wrongs in another person or in society, and it's a lot harder to look introspectively and realize why you think those things and why you feel those things. And being with yourself alone, with your thoughts, is very difficult for some people. It's a lot easier to just, slap another person's label.
There's just, it's across the board. I mean, I'll get the example that I'll give is there's still white families that don't want their kids dating black people, and there's still black families that don't want their kids dating white people.
Racism is always gonna be there. Like stereotypes, little jokes that you crack with your buddies and all that, like that's all racist. Like, you know what I'm saying?
People assimilate, and it's just in human nature. And I think that just goes back to just understanding. People are afraid of what they don't understand. I think and there's a lot of things that people don't understand about other cultures and other races that we try to, that's weird. No, it's just what they do. So you just don't happen to do it.
I think with any minority, you can represent and you can choose to help people understand, but it's never your job to be the educator.
On both sides, they just don't understand each other. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're all just like people. I mean, there's bad people in every race. It's not just one group doing it all. I mean, it's all of us. And we can do better than the last generation did. That's what I'm hoping for, is that we do better. Hopefully in the next, I'd love to see in the next 40 years, racism not be around. But is that going to happen? Probably not.
That don't mean we have to cancel them. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if I canceled you every time you did something wrong. You'd be gone. That's how I see it. I think our society needs to be a little bit more forgiving, actually. I feel like we think we have so much power, and it's just I feel like if we just continue this cancel culture, we're going to end up canceling the whole market. And then what are we gonna wear? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're never going to meet a person who's exactly the same way you are, who thinks the same way, who reacts the same way. Everybody's going to have different experience. It's like how siblings have different experiences living in the same house.
I am deadly afraid of having a kid in this world right now. And when I think about the future, I mean, I'm excited to see where my life may go, what I can do. I mean, I love traveling. I'm excited to see all the things I can accomplish and things like that. But in terms of the general wellness and happiness, there's so much wrong right now that it is very hard to feel excited.
I don't know if that's just because I didn't, I was younger and I didn't understand things and see them for how they really are. And now that I'm getting older, I see a lot of things for how it is,
I mean, it's the same thing that's always gone on. I mean, I think people are getting more accepting, 100%. I think we were for sure going towards a better aspect. Everything's become so polarized. I mean, people can't meet in the middle anymore on things. We don't have to agree. We can also work towards something. And I think now people have just been like, okay, that's my opinion. I don't really care what you have to say.
Yes and no. I'm excited for the future, but also a little nervous and scared.
Very excited for the future. I'm excited to build my brand, myself, the people around me.
Yes, very excited. Probably finding what I like and like what type of jobs I want to get. I want to be an artist, actor, or voice actor.
That's where all the mysteries of life are held. And for me, it's one day at a time, but who's to say what all can come? There's endless possibilities in the future.
Instead of saying I have to, I get to. I get to go to the gym. I get to wake up. I get to, I can walk. People don't realize how lucky you really are. And that's one thing that I've learned. It's human nature to be like, okay, well, it's just a given, but it's really not. And there's a lot of people that don't realize how lucky they are. And I was one of those people. And, learning about myself, and that's, I get to do this.
For better or for worse, it's change, and I believe that change is good. And to change teaches you things and allows you to be better equipped for the situations that precede that. So I'm very excited for the future, for my future, for everyone's future, because it's something new that hopefully we haven't experienced before.
Everyone keep grinding. Like, there's sad days out there, but the happy days are always better. Got to figure out what you want to do.
You got to find your limits and you got to go push them. So go do that. If you want to better yourself, you got to push yourself.
That may not happen right away, but once it happens, just go after it, I'd say, and just try to live a happy life. It's the best type of life, I'd say.
Stay blessed.
Well, if you made it this far, I would just like to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this award-winning documentary. My name is Jonathan Brown II, and I was the sole creator of this project you have listened to. But none of this would be possible without the following people.
Aaliyah.
Abigail. Alex. Sherry. Alexis. Bonnet. Alexis Ting. Amari. Amir.
My name is Anna.
Ananya.
Arthur Schmidt.
Austin.
Brooke Tolera.
Noah Powell.
Dominic Mayer.
Ellie Watchman. This is Ellie Watchman here.
My name is Boris Stahl.
Garrett Camp.
And Keisha Jeremiah Jackson.
Cadence.
My name is Kendall Fair.
Kevin Burt.
I'm Les Matthews.
My name is Lauren Harris.
Lucy Kanowski.
Michaela. Molly Johnson.
Mala.
Wanik.
Nick Brandt.
My name is William Seffick.
I'm Zach, man.